Hey guys, thanks for tuning in today's Florida Drive-By. It is 87 degrees. I am going to be getting on the I-75 going northbound towards Bradenton, Florida. Today is August 12th, 2015, and I hope everybody's doing pretty good. It's like about 12:44 in the afternoon on Wednesday. It's about an hour drive for me to go where I gotta go. But hope everybody's doing great. Listen, I wanted to bring up a subject, and today's subject is going to be a computer subject. And actually, this was brought up by one of my subscribers. I think it was Crazy Cat. About buying a computer. What would you be better off if you're going to get a computer and you had to wait and you didn't want to spend a lot? Should you get a fast processor with not a lot of RAM, or should you get a slow processor with a lot of RAM? Let me go through and kind of explain this to everybody about RAM, about hard drive space, so it's a little bit so you can understand. I try to put it really graphical. Okay, so a computer, right? CPU, central processing unit, that's the box. Okay, that's not the monitor, that's the box where all the peripherals, and peripherals are things you connect to it, like an octopus. The octopus's head is the CPU, and all the tentacles, are the parts like the printer, the monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, cable modem, scanner, whatever you put on it. So I'm going to bring up now the central processing unit. Okay, internally has, and picture this as your desk in your office or a table in the kitchen. Okay, so picture, that's the best way to do it. A desk in an office that has filing cabinets on it. Okay, so picture that as your computer. On top of your desk is your working area. That's your RAM, random access memory. That's your memory when you have memory. So on top of your desk is where you work. Your desk, the surface of your desk. Right. So if your desk is real cluttered, it's hard to work, right? It's hard to find documents and paperwork and things like that. So you have a cleaner desk, you can find more of your stuff. Underneath your desk, your filing cabinet is where you store stuff. Okay. It never goes away, because you might have inside your filing cabinet 10 folders. One folder might say home receipts, one might say accounts payable, one might say bills. Okay, those folders will always remain those folders for that information. So you're not going to put entertainment bills and mortgage, right? You're not going to swap the folder. So that folder is for storing things that you're not using, or you're going to access later. So basically what you do is, when you open a program, let's say you want to open off Microsoft Office, you go down the folder that says Microsoft Office and you pull that application out and lay it on your desktop. Now you want to go ahead and maybe you feel like doing some word processing, or not word processing. Let's say you're going to look at a spreadsheet or something. Well, you open up the folder that has the spreadsheet, you put it on, you open that up. Now you want to go on the internet, you open the folder with your browser, you pull the application out, put it on your desk. Now you open that up. So as you can see, the more things that you have open on the desk, okay, in your RAM, your random access memory, the harder it is to find things, and because you have to keep track of everything. So your computer is the same way. So things that load in your RAM right away that you don't use, it's always good to turn off, okay, or put back in the folder under your desk. Okay, and if your folders get too full, then you actually have to get another filing cabinet for more space, right? So I'm going to get that. Hard drive space is like the filing cabinet. Okay, RAM, random access memory, is what you're working with at the time. Now, if you buy a computer, right, there's a processor. Well, the processor would be how fast you take, how efficient you take the stuff from the hard drive and put it on the top of the desk. That's going to let you do it faster, and it's going to let you run more things on your desk at the same time without running slow. So the processor lets you, it's processors like you. It just depends on how fast you are to work with all the stuff you got in your desktop, you know, and how efficient you are, okay? So that's really the processor. You are the processor in the office, right? You're moving stuff around, shifting things, putting it here, putting it there. So that's what the processor does for you. The memory, of course, that's how much area on your desk you can work. So let's say you don't have enough room. So you might add a section of your desk on. So you add a little bit more memory. So you add a section of desk on. So you have more room to work on your stuff. And that's kind of puts it. So now people say, should I have a computer with more memory and a faster processor? You know, what should I have? Well, a lot of that's going to depend on what you're doing. What are you doing? What kind of, you know, are you doing video production on your computer, graphic, things that take up that desktop, a lot of it? Are you doing that? Are you doing not a lot of things? Maybe just once in a while typing up a document and doing some surfing. So that wouldn't take a lot of that desktop, right? What are you doing? That's what you have to weigh in, you know. If you're doing a lot of graphically intense things and video intense, you're going to need a fast hard drive, you're going to need more memory, and a fast processor. Those two. The hard drive basically is, I would have to say, is how fast you can get the stuff out of the folder. That's your access time. Slower hard drive, you're not going to get the stuff out fast to put in your desk, you know, on your desktop. So you are the processor, right? Your access time is how you access the folders underneath your desk, and your hard drive will be a function of that, how fast it spins. The hard drive space is the space that's allocated to those filing cabinets for that stuff you're using, and the RAM is the space on your desktop. That's random access memory. That's what you're currently working with. So needless to say, it would make no sense to leave a cluttered desk when you're not using half of the shit, right? That's why all them programs should be shut off. And in my previous video, I had a video about msconfig. And with msconfig, that utility, you can shut those things off so they're not always running and only open it. So it's like you don't need Word running if you're on internet cruising and you don't even need Word, right? You can shut that application down. So a lot of things you can just close down. You don't really need it running all the time. That kind of gives you a breakup of, and I'll repeat it once again, random access memory. Picture the man sitting at the desk on the chair is the workspace on your desk. You know, you have a limited amount unless you add an extra section of your desk, and that never goes away. It's just that people load a lot of shit on their computers and it just gets more clogged up and takes up the space. Your file cabinets under your desk is your hard drive. That's how much hard drive space you can store stuff. You accessing the hard drive and opening the filing cabinet and taking out the folder would be your access time. How fast the hard drive can be accessed. And you yourself are the processor. So the processor consolidates, you know, taking things out of the file cabinet, filing things back, opening them up, looking and stuff. So that like orchestrates it. So, I mean, I hope this was like a little bit educational and you kind of got the breakdown of computers. So when we go shopping for a computer, the bottom line, you got to ask yourself, you got to say, what am I going to use the computer for? That will determine a lot of what you're going to do with it. If it's just a basic computer for getting on the net and doing some word processing and doing some emailing, then just about any run-of-the-mill computer will do that. So you really don't have to worry. And if you had a choice between memory and hard drive space or processor speed, I would probably always get the fastest processor you can, because really having a fast processor, usually everything else is fast. Usually when you have a little bit more expensive computer, they put a faster processor. They usually put a little bit more memory in there. They usually put a faster hard drive. Usually a little bit better quality. So that's what I do. But if you can't afford it, then you can, you know, get a little lower processor and be up on the memory side. It depends on the price wise. And right now, there's a few processors out. You know, you have your Pentium D processors. There's some DX Pros. mobile processors. And your laptops, you're going to either get i3s, i5s, i7s. Most of those are mobile chips. They're not as fast as the processor in a desktop. And that's what you got to decide too. Do you need a desktop or a laptop? A laptop is always going to be slow. It's going to be slow, okay? Because it's just it can't dissipate the heat. It can't run. It doesn't have enough power to run it like a desktop. So that's why usually people use really high-end desktops to do graphics. There's some laptops that are out to do that, but they just don't have the bling. They just don't have the speed for what you'd want to do, and they're just never as good as a laptop a desktop at all. But I wanted to bring that up. If you have a question, you can shoot me a question posted on my video, and hopefully this was helpful. Just remember the scenario. A man sitting at his office. The person doing all the things is the processor. The filing cabinet is the hard drive where everything is kept. And on top of the desk is your RAM. That's a space where you're actively working. You don't want anything out there that you're not using. Because especially with computers, it will slow you down. That's another thing. Or it's like a backpack, if you had a backpack on your back and you had 5 books in there and you're not using any of them, that's just putting excess work on you. You wait. So if you took all the books out and put them at home, and then when you wanted them, bring them that day if you have class or something. So, items loaded in memory on your desk is like a backpack where the stuff just sitting there loading. You got to carry it around, lug it around. Because you figure, let's say, you automatically, you have your antivirus loading, and that's a good thing to have loading. So you have your antivirus loading when you start the computer up. Some people have, things like sound controls and network controls and reminders. Of course, they'll have their iTunes loading, and then they'll have Office loading automatically. And a lot of these things load automatically if you didn't turn them off when you installed them. So they'll load by default. And especially out of your new computers, will have a Help Center, a Dell Help Center, HP Help Center, Asus Help Center, Sony Help Center. All these help friggin' centers are loading. So already when you just start the computer, you're standing there with a full backpack. Now if you want to start doing something, go on the internet or start doing graphically editing, open your programs there, you drag it down even slower. You're not using those other programs that started up at all, except maybe your antivirus and maybe your iTunes. Those, if you're going to use them, you really have to be on. Or you could shut them off. But like I say, and then you open your browser and you wonder why the goddamn thing gets so slow. I just recommend don't run a lot of things in the background. Always have a good defragger, do a defrag scan disk or something like that, some utilities, a registry cleaner, something that optimizes it. And then after you're finished running that thing, you shut it off. You don't want to leave it shut running or BitTorrent always running, even when you're not downloading something. So, but I wanted to bring that up, and hopefully this just gives you some information about computers, hard drive, memory, and how to make maybe a semi-intelligent choice when buying a computer. Thank you.